Standing side by side, Hernandez Govan and Jermarcus Johnson stood before Judge Jennifer Mitchell in court Thursday morning. Both are out on bond.
After the killing of young Dolph, Paper Route Entertainment has unleashed hell in the city of Memphis.
A man once named as a person of interest in young Dolph's murder has now also been killed.
Now even Yo Gotti can't sleep with his eyes open in the city. And who can blame him? If all my friends were falling like flies around me, I'll lose sleep too. One man has been a bane to his existence, and that man is Key Glock. Here's why Yo Gotti is really scared of Key Glock. The beef between Yo Gotti and Key Glock. To really understand why Yo Gotti is afraid of Key Glock, let's take a look at the beef between young Dolph and Yo Gotti. It was in the gritty streets of Memphis that the paths of young Dolph and Yo Gotti first crossed. Rumors circulated that Dolph, whose parents were both addicted to crack during his upbringing, was actually the plug for Gotti's brother back in the day. Dolph, determined to create his own path, got involved in the streets and carved out his own lane. He found solace in freestyling with his friends, but it wasn't until a life-altering event that he decided to take music seriously. In a twist of fate, Dolph's life changed forever when he survived a near-fatal car crash. This brush with death served as a wake-up call, prompting him to reevaluate his life and pursue his passion for music with unwavering dedication. From that moment on, Dolph went all in on his rap career, leaving the streets behind. He started by handing out free CDs all over the city, tirelessly promoting his music and gaining attention from the local scene. In 2010, Dolph dropped a project titled Welcome to Dolph World, which created a buzz in Memphis and solidified his presence in the rap game. But Dolph had bigger plans than just local recognition. He aimed to make a name for himself on a national scale. That same year, Dolph took a bold step and founded his own record label called Paper Route Empire. With each new project he released, Dolph's popularity grew and his numbers spoke for themselves. It was evident that he had his sights set on taking over the rap game. In 2013, Dolph's collaboration project with the legendary Gucci Mane caught the attention of none other than Yo Gotti. Gotti, an icon in the Memphis rap scene, had been in the game since 1996 and had established himself as a force to be reckoned with. In 2012, he had launched his own record label, Collective Music Group CMG, with aspirations of nurturing and promoting talented artists. By 2014, Gotti's CMG label had yet to sign any artists, and that's when he reached out to Dolph with a record deal offer. At the time, Dolph was already buzzing in the streets, but he hadn't quite hit the mainstream yet. Linking up with Gotti could have been a significant boost to his career, but Dolph had other plans in mind. Even before he gained recognition in the industry, Dolph had a clear vision of creating his own lane. He had started his own label before even making it big, showcasing his independent mindset and his desire to build something from the ground up. Turning down Gotti's offer was a strategic move on Dolph's part, as he didn't want his success to be attributed solely to riding someone else's wave. In interviews, Dolph expressed his respect for Gotti and acknowledged that he believed Gotti understood his decision. He knew that Gotti had also paved his own way in the industry, and he respected that. However, behind the scenes, tensions were brewing, and the relationship between Dolph and Gotti was far from harmonious. Despite the static between them, nothing significant happened between Dolph and Gotti for a couple of years. Dolph remained focused on his grind, achieving success and even going double platinum with his collaboration with OT Genesis. Meanwhile, Gotti decided to sign another Memphis rapper, Black Youngsta, and took on the role of his mentor. Black Youngsta, like Dolph, had survived the trenches of Memphis before venturing into the music industry. Raised by a single mother, he had to learn how to navigate the streets from an early age. At just 7 years old, he got his first job stocking shelves at a grocery store, but his involvement in theft led to his dismissal. This setback pushed him further into the streets, where he honed his rap skills. In 2012, Black Youngsta dropped 2 projects and started gaining momentum in the Memphis rap scene. It was in 2014, with the release of his track Heavy, that he truly made his mark. The song became a local hit, putting him on the map and catching the attention of none other than Yo Gotti. Gotti, recognizing Black Youngsta's talent and potential, hopped on the remix of Heavy and signed him to CMG. This move solidified Black Youngsta's position in the industry and marked the beginning of his journey under Gotti's mentorship. While Dolph and Gotti seemed to be on separate paths, their paths would soon intersect again, and this time it would ignite a beef that would shake the rap world. In February 2016, Dolph dropped his debut album, boldly titled King of Memphis. This album title didn't sit well with Gotti, who had previously referred to himself as the King of Memphis. The album's release marked the official declaration of the beef between Dolph and Gotti. Dolph took to Twitter and publicly called out Gotti, stating, "Bra went from being being my #1 fan and wanting to sign me to being my biggest hater #facts. Fans anticipated a response from Gotti, but instead, he remained silent, allowing his new artist, Black Youngstar, to do the dissing on his behalf. Black Youngstar wasted no time in jumping into the beef, taking shots at Dolph on social media and even threatening physical confrontation. He rolled up to Dolph's neighborhood with his crew, but no significant altercation occurred. Dolph, however, wasn't one to back down. He took to Instagram to air out his grievances, accusing Gotti of hating on Memphis rappers and putting the police on him. The tension between Dolph and Gotti continued to escalate. Dolph's lyrics on the remix of Trouble's track Ready were seen as direct shots at Gotti and Black Youngstar. Fans linked the heavy line in Dolph's verse to Black Youngstar's track Heavy, further fueling the fire of the beef. Black Youngstar responded with a diss track of his own called Shake Some, directly calling out Dolph by name and making derogatory remarks. Dolph chose not to respond to the track, but a few months later he took the beef to the next level with the release of his song Play With Yo. Play With Yo was a wild diss track where Dolph claimed to have hooked up with Gotti's baby mama, further intensifying the beef. The lyrics were scathing, with Dolph taunting Gotti and his team. Instead of responding with his own song, Gotti took to Twitter to dismiss the beef, stating, "I'm business partners with Lil Reed and Jay-Z," and simply writing, blah blah blah. The beef seemed to cool off for a while, but then Dolph dropped the music video for Play With Yo, and the situation took a deadly turn. The video depicted Dolph stealing a girl from a Gotti lookalike, a move that was seen as highly disrespectful. The day after the video's release, over 100 shots were fired into Dolph's SUV while he was in North Carolina. Despite the dangerous situation, Dolph emerged unscathed thanks to the bulletproofing of his vehicle. Undeterred, he even performed Play With Yo on stage that same night, proving that he wasn't backing down from anyone. Black Youngstar was later charged with the shooting, but the case was eventually dropped due to a lack of evidence. The shooting didn't slow down Dolph's career. In fact, he used the incident to his advantage. In April 2017, he released an album titled Bulletproof, with track titles that sent a clear message to those who had tried to harm him. When the track titles were put in order, they read 100 shots in Charlotte, but I'm bulletproof, so that's how I feel, all of them. I'm so real, I pray for my enemies. I'm everything you want to be, SMH. The beef between Dolph and Gotti seemed to reach a boiling point, with tensions escalating to dangerous levels. Dolph allegedly discovered Gotti's location in Los Angeles and confronted him. A fight broke out between their respective crews, resulting in Dolph being shot 3 times. Gotti's associate was initially charged with attempted murder, but was later released due to a lack of cooperation from witnesses. After the shooting, both Dolph and Gotti seemed to move on from the beef, focusing on their respective careers. Dolph continued to rise in popularity, signing his cousin Key Glock and engaging in charity work. Gotti's CMG label also signed new artists and worked on his own music. After the release of his album King of Memphis, Dolph made it clear that he was not backing down. He took to social media to express his frustrations, accusing Gotti of hating on Memphis rappers and even alleging that Gotti had put the police on him. Dolph's bold statements and unfiltered remarks only added fuel to the fire. When questioned about his diss with Gotti, he had this to say.
It's like when you get so much money, a lot of stuff, you see negativity or you see a lot of stuff coming your way, like you don't even indulge in it.
He goes on to say that he gives no attention to haters who only bring negativity. He then talks about how his friends call him up and tell him about how Gotti sneak disses him too and how he does not even like to hear that. In the interview, he went further to show his reluctance to listen to Yo Gotti music even when his friends pressure him to listen to the tapes of the disses. Then he questioned Gotti's management, mocking how he would not delegate power to any of his crew. He further talked about how nobody wants to listen to him or his music. Meanwhile, Gotti remained relatively silent, choosing to let his artist, Black Youngstar, do the talking for him. Black Youngstar jumped into the beef head first. He released a diss track called Shake Some, directly calling out Dolph by name and making derogatory remarks about him. Dolph chose not to respond directly to Black Youngstar's diss track. Instead, he continued to focus on his music and his own career. However, a few months later, Dolph released a song that took the beef to a whole new level. Despite the near-fatal incident, Dolph refused to let it slow him down. In fact, he used the shooting to his advantage. In April 2017, he released an album titled Bulletproof. The track titles in the album formed a powerful message to those who had tried to harm him. When put in order, the track titles read 100 shots in Charlotte, but I'm bulletproof, so f them. That's how I feel, all of them. I'm so real, I pray for my enemies. I'm everything you want to be, SMH. The shooting incident marked a turning point in the beef between Dolph and Gotti. Both rappers seemed to realize the gravity of the situation and the potential consequences. The beef had reached dangerous levels, and it seemed that it would continue until someone got seriously hurt or killed. However, after Dolph's shooting, both sides seemed to take a step back. The beef cooled off, and the focus shifted shifted to their respective careers. Dolph continued to rise in popularity, signing his cousin Key Glock and engaging in charitable endeavors. Gotti, on the other hand, focused on his CMG label, signing new artists and working on his own music. Tragically, before the beef could be officially resolved, Dolph's life was cut short. In November 2021, he was ambushed by two shooters at a bakery in Memphis. He was shot over 20 times and succumbed to his injuries. The news of Dolph's death sent shockwaves through the rap community, and rumors immediately began to circulate, speculating that Gotti was behind the hit. As of now, there is no concrete evidence linking Gotti to the murder. The police have charged 5 individuals believed to be involved, but the motive remains unknown. Regardless, jail would probably be a welcome environment for the killers of young Dolph, as it soon becomes clear that Key Glock and his crew were coming for them. The streets of Memphis immediately turned bloody as there was no place to hide for young Dolph's killers. Pre versus CMG. The death of young Dolph unsettled the hip-hop community, but little did anyone know that it was just the beginning of a wave of violence that would grip the streets. In the aftermath of his murder, tensions between CMG and PRE reached a boiling point, leading to a series of retaliatory killings. One of the first victims was Destiny Govin, daughter of accused young Dolph's killer, Hernandez Govin. Just months after young Dolph's death, Destiny Govin was gunned down in her car. Destiny Govin, who was signed to Lil Uzi Vert, was shot to death at a traffic light, while the passenger in her vehicle was injured. The Houston Police Department swiftly responded to the scene, their sirens piercing through the night. Officers arrived to find a scene of horror and tragedy. Destiny Govin, just 25 years old, was found unresponsive in the driver's seat of her vehicle. Paramedics rushed to the scene, their efforts to save Destiny's life in vain. She was pronounced dead at the scene. The authorities reported that as they sat in their vehicle, a dark 4-door car pulled up in front of them. 2 figures emerged from their vehicle and started shooting at them.
Been told by Memphis police that a high-profile gang member was killed in a shooting in Orange Mound this afternoon.
As the body count continued to rise, it became clear that CMG affiliates were being targeted by PRE. CEO Teezy, another prominent figure within CMG, was the next to fall victim to the violence. His murder reverberated through the industry, as it became evident that the feud between the two camps had escalated to a deadly level. In February 2022, Taylor's name surfaced in connection to the murder investigation. He was wanted on multiple charges, including theft of property and possession of a prohibited weapon. The police were eager to question him, hoping to uncover the truth behind Dolph's untimely death. No one was actually in shock, as the connection between CEO Teezy and young Dolph's murder was the subject of intense speculation. Rumors swirled, and the public demanded answers. Was Taylor truly involved in the crime, or was he an innocent bystander caught in a web of deceit? The truth remained elusive, but the authorities were determined to uncover the full extent of CEO Teezy's involvement. They believed that he held crucial information that could shed light on the events leading up to Dolph's murder. But before they could bring him in for questioning, tragedy struck once again. In June 2023, news broke that Joshua Taylor, aka CEO Teezy, had been found dead. Shot to death inside a car, his life had come to a sudden and violent end. The circumstances surrounding his death only deepened the mystery surrounding his connection to young Dolph's murder. The investigation into CEO Teezy's death is ongoing, with no suspects identified at this time. The authorities are left to piece together the puzzle, hoping to find the missing links that will unravel the truth behind these shocking events. CEO Teezy, by the way, was not just your ordinary rapper claiming association with a gang. No, he was the boss, according to ACT.
Teezy ain't just no gang member. Teezy was the head of Trula Mafia.
This meant that CEO Teezy might as well have been the ringleader of the crew that rolled up on young Dolph, or at the very least, knew about the hit. That is why before his death, the police were looking for him. But the violence didn't stop there. Black Youngstar's brother, a rising star within CMG, was also targeted and killed in a brutal attack. The streets were gripped with fear as the body count continued to rise, and the rivalry between CMG and PRE showed no signs of slowing down. Black Youngstar's brother, Sammy Marquez Benson, was shot to death at a gas station on August 2023. Despite the dangers, it was surprising that Black Youngstar's brother continued to go through the streets of Memphis with no security detail and no protection. The question arises, why would he put himself at risk, knowing the potential consequences? It is a known fact that when people become targets, those close to them also become vulnerable. It is common knowledge that people often seek to hurt those connected to their enemies, and this tragedy is a stark example of that. While it is not clear if this incident is directly linked to any ongoing feuds, it does raise concerns about the need for heightened security measures. Black Youngstar, Youngsta, Yo Gotti, and others associated with them are supposed to be aware that their names are not exempt from the dangers that exist. Leaving Memphis, even temporarily, could have been a wise decision to protect not only themselves, but also their family members. Life has changed and the risks have increased. Staying in a place where danger looms is not worth the potential consequences. The details surrounding the shooting of Black Youngstar's brother are still emerging, but reports indicate that he was shot multiple times. It is a tragic and senseless act of violence that has left many in disbelief. Rumors have been circulating about individuals having bounties on their heads and being targeted by certain groups. While it is essential to approach these rumors with caution, it underscores the tense atmosphere and the potential for violence.
Sources close to the family of rapper Yo Gotti confirmed the man killed outside a Hickory Hill event center is Gotti's brother.
The most recent victim in this deadly feud, however, was Big Juke, a reputable associate with CMG. Big Juke was killed attending his uncle's funeral. Imagine who would kill someone at a burial when they are at the lowest. The people who killed Big Juke are those kinds of people who will not hesitate to kick their haters when they are down. The shooting incident that claimed the life of Big Juke unfolded on January 13, 2024, outside Perignon's restaurant and event center in Memphis. It was around 4:15 p.m. when the horrifying incident took place. Reports indicate that Big Juke was shot with another man during the incident. He was immediately rushed to St. Francis Hospital, but tragically pronounced dead upon arrival. The shooting has left the community in shock, raising concerns about the safety and security of individuals in the music industry. The Memphis Deputy Police Chief, Paul Wright, addressed the media during a press conference, revealing that the police believe this was a targeted attack. However, no suspects have been identified or arrested at this time. According to the police, the motive behind the shooting remains unclear. However, we definitely can speculate. You see, after the killing of young Dolph, a very much alive and healthy Big Juke went online to diss Dolph.
I don't paint no side too real in the middle, man.
This is coming at a time when the rumor mill is circulating that Big Juke had given Hernandez Govan $40,000 to kill young Dolph. But who is Hernandez Govan and how is he connected to this tragic event? He is the father of Lil Uzi Vert signed Ladakash Desto, who was killed just months after the death of young Dolph. The Memphis police have not yet revealed the specifics of how Govan is connected to the shooting that took place on November 17, 2021 at Makeda's Homemade Cookies on Airways Boulevard. However, Shelby County District Attorney General Steve Mulroy has confirmed that Govan is a person of interest in Thornton's death. In fact, Govan is suspected of putting a hit on young Dolph before his tragic demise. According to Shelby County District Attorney Steve Mulroy, Govan is believed to be the mastermind behind the murder. It is alleged that he solicited the hit, leading two individuals, Justin Johnson and Cornelia Smith, to carry out the fatal shooting. The incident took place at Makeda's Homemade Butter Cookies, the very place where young Dolph met his tragic end. The indictment against Govan came just a week before the anniversary of young Dolph's murder, adding an eerie layer to an already chilling tale. But what is truly shocking is the revelation that Govan had been planning this heinous act for months. His charge of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder dates back to June 2021, suggesting that the wheels were set in motion long before that fateful day in November. One way that netizens have linked Big Juke to the murder of young Dolph is through this eerie photo. Yes, you guessed it. That is definitely Big Juke next to Hernandez. Now, if he did not have anything to do with the death of young Dolph, well, why is he posing with one of young Dolph's killers? I guess we will never know. One thing for sure is that Big Juke seemed to have seen the writings on the wall. Just hours before his tragic death, Big Juke took to Instagram to pay tribute to a friend who had passed away. The heartfelt post featured a picture of his late friend, accompanied by the words, "Rip Unk Las Vegas Eric." The emotional weight behind this tribute would soon take on a chilling significance. However, it was another post that sent shockwaves through his followers. In a video clip, Big Juke stood next to a Christmas tree, seemingly unaware of the impending tragedy. The caption accompanying the video contained cryptic words that hinted at a lurking danger. They don't want to face you. They want to snake you. Stay alert. To stay alive, watch your back at all times. Put snakes on the plate and eat great. These words now take on an eerie and prophetic tone. With each killing, the tension between CMG and Pre grew more palpable. The streets became a battleground, with both sides seeking revenge and asserting their dominance. The feud had spiraled out of control, leaving a trail of devastation in its wake. But amidst the chaos, one name emerged as a force to be reckoned with: Key Glock. As a rising star and affiliate of PRE, Key Glock became a symbol of retaliation against CMG. His music and persona embodied the defiance and aggression that had come to define this deadly feud. As the body count continued to rise, Yo Gotti, the head of CMG, found himself facing a new level of fear. Key Glock's rise to prominence and the relentless violence carried out by PRE had put Yo Gotti on notice. The once dominant figure in the industry now has to contend with a rival who seemed unstoppable. The killings of Big Juke, CEO TZ, Black Young Star Brother, and Destiny Govan were not just tragic losses of life, but also a chilling reminder of the power and consequences of this deadly feud. confused. The streets had become a battleground, and the music industry was forever changed by the violence that unfolded. That brings us to the end of this video. For more videos like this, click on the cards on your screen.